will follow. Ero kamano, Nyasaye ogwedhu.
Mako mamano, morito rengo. Tinge gimomi orita maber. Inge gimomi orita maber. Mama no puonje. Mama no puonje. Ero kamano ber.
Ero kamano. Sama wuoyo ka ng'eni karo rita ga toka kar kae. To da hero mdegin an chon ne an japuonj. An jok mana puonjo. Ema mi jo ka chon mar education. Jok mana puonjo gin who is who. Oka puonjo jok ma oremie kor gweng'. Achiel kuom jok mana puonjo en Betty Murungi Orengo, nyako mochung' e dirani. Donge ang'en seche moko nene mana ni donge mano jaod Orengo. And well educated, and a lawyer of high standards. Also to your category UN as a lawyer. Betty, just say hello to them.
Nyasai ber, sechete. Karibuni sana Migwena. Some of us have come to spoil for our partners. Tumekuja na wao hapa Migwena. We look forward to welcoming you to all the ceremonies over the next 2 days. Karibuni sana, our visitors from all over Africa and the beyond. We are very happy in Siaya to be hosting you for this, our annual Pin Luo Festival. Thank you very much, Min Pin, for having taught me and having taught many of us here. Asante sana Baba for honoring us, obviously, with your presence. We appreciate you. Ker erokamano ainya.
Ker ong'eyo. Ker bo ong'e nyakoni. Erokamano. Nitie gimoma min piny owacho kae. And I want to repeat it loudly. And please bear with me. A lot of the events that are going on now are being covered live in NTV. But the reason I want to say this because next year we are going to go either to Migori or to Kisumu. But I think it has been decided it's Migori. Now, if you look all around, we have been assisted by institutions in the corporate world. And I want to mention all of them because they intend to go with us to Migori. They told me as much. And they are watching us to see whether it is necessary to continue investing into Piny Luo. There are only 3 cultural festivals in the country where the national government has been giving assistance. The first is the Turkana one, the Ma community, and the Lamu Cultural Festival. This time around, and I want to thank you, Baba, Raila Amolo Odinga. The national government has invested resources and assets in Piny Luo, and I want to register my felicitation to the national government, particularly the Ministry of Tourism, the ministry in charge of sports, and the ministry in charge of culture. And their representatives are here, and they're going to be with us throughout to know whether it is useful to continue investing into Pinjlo. But they have made that decision. But it depends on what we do. I want to appreciate the Nation newspaper group together with the Nation group or the Aga Khan group, because we got two institutions from the Aga Khan group, that is the Nation and the Diamond Trust Bank. They have assisted us. We have also been assisted by the Kenya Aviation Authority. If you go to the airports all over the country, they have put banners for Pinjlo. Everybody arriving in Kenya today, whether it's Jomo Kenyatta, whether it's Mombasa, everywhere, they are advertising the Pinjlo, and we want them to continue doing that. We have also received assistance from the Kenya Commercial Bank, from the Cooperative Bank, from the Diamond Trust Bank, from the NCBA Bank. We have received assistance from LAP Fund. We have received assistance from Safaricom. We have also received assistance from Kenya Airways, making it possible for Gor Mahia team to come by air. I think they came yesterday, courtesy Kenya Airways. And they have said when Yanga is coming in February, they will pay for their tickets and pay for Gor Mahia Kogalo. We have also received assistance from KBL, Kenya Brewers Limited, and from Just University. All these organizations are saying they want to be part of the team of sponsors and partners for Pinjlo. So we are going to meet them in Migori. How many people would welcome this organization and others to continue giving assistance to Pinjlo? Let me see a show of hands. Koroku yena abe adwa wacho gimoro matin, nitie joloso moko mabende biro, to adwa wacho gimoro matin kae. In history, and right now, in a lot of discourse, in matters concerning affairs of men and women who have changed humankind, one of the greatest debates in England is who is the greatest Englishman who ever lived. And the debate is normally and most of the times between Shakespeare and Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill, not because he was a prime minister, because he was a great writer and historian. And the other person in England, sometimes that names keep on coming, is Sir Isaac Newton. If we talk about the greatest black man that ever lived, the debate is between Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela. Not so much because they were princes or kings or monarchs, but because of what they did for the world and for the nation. And in that category falls one called Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. In the United States of America, when they talk about the greatest American that ever lived, the name that keeps on coming is that of Abraham Lincoln. Not because he was president of the United States of America, but because he believed that America cannot be great if it is half free and half slave. Our Lord Jesus Christ, whom we worship, was never a pope. He never occupied any position. He was never a cardinal. But his history and work goes across continents. Even for that matter, Muhammad the prophet, he was not a king, he was not a monarch. But what he did for many, many centuries, and we're talking about over nearly 2,000 centuries, is because of what they stood for and what they did. And I want to remind the Luo nation, and this I want to say without fear of contradiction, that Raila Amolo Odinga is a great Kenyan and a great statesman, not because he is a party leader, not because at one time he was a minister. Raila Amolo Odinga is a great Kenyan because of what he stands for. And you will find any time we have made a decision, including now, to work with partners, Raila will never allow you to do what is wrong. And I'm glad, Baba, that when it came to the question of abductions, you spoke plainly. You didn't mince your words. And I am saying for the Luo nation, we may not have been produced a president in this nation, but the time will come. The time will come. The time will come. And the reason why that time will come is because of the sense of justice of the Luo community. The greatest asset that we have is not money, is not our land we own, it is our sense of justice. And on that one, I can tell you tomorrow, yesterday, and in the future, that the leaders have never been mediocre. They stand up. Jeremiah, one of the most brilliant politicians who left a record, but because of his sense of justice. Tom Mboya had a sense of justice. Arsene Kodek had a sense of justice. And I can tell you, because of Raila's sense of justice, that is why he has won elections. Me, I believe that Raila was and is president because many times he was robbed of election, and that should never happen. So I want to plead with you. Sometimes we can get a sense of excitement and euphoria. Sometimes we can get a sense of excitement and euphoria. At least in my lifetime, I've been in politics with people like Odongo Mamu or Okiki Amayo. And when you heard them talk, it was like the president was king. We must always remember that we stand by our constitution. That is the basic document that must guide us. And that constitution is what now allows us to express our identity in language, culture, and when we are all gone, it is our culture and identity that will determine who we were. The pharaohs, the Egyptians, their history lives today because they left a culture which we can still access. Now, for Pinluo, our history is rich. And I ask you, when you are here, take 2-3 hours in Gotramogi. Then you begin to know who you are. You cannot leave Kenya and go to America and visit Arlington Cemetery to see where Kennedy is buried. And you're a Luo and you don't know where Ramogi is buried just next door. You have to do that. You cannot be a Luo if you don't know how other Luos, how they live, their history. And I'm so happy with the delegation, all the delegations that have come. We have got kings, we got governors. In Uganda, we have prime ministers. They are all here with you. And in DRC, there used to be a little girl called Akumu, Nana Akumu. A lot of people didn't know that he was a Congolese Luo. And Dr. Buru, they tell me that they're not just 4 million, they're about 8 million. So, Kenya, we are here as a Luo nation, not to preach discrimination or exclusivity. We are not going to be people of the lake in exclusion of other Kenyans, like other people preach about mountains. We believe in unity and diversity, as Adam Solo said. That is what is going to make us great. This is what makes Raila Amolo Odinga standing for justice, standing for the truth, standing for the common people, having pro-people policies. That is what is going to make a difference. Omio angimano emanyalo wacho mora hinya gi jomobiro Migwena koa ka kinyuparu bi wichlum ka kawuono wadhi got ramogi gi Kopondo kendo oruye nwabed ramogi kendo nwabed Siaya Kababa Siaya Tatien. And in conclusion, Raila Amolo Odinga, I want to appreciate for you making it possible. It has never happened, never, that through your leadership and vision, we got all these people from the Luo nation from across Africa. That is one. Secondly, you have made it possible for two heads of state, sitting heads of state, to come to join with you to celebrate an event in Siaya. It has never happened. It has never happened. It has never happened. But next year, we'll come to you, now that you'll be the head of Africa, to bring us 6, 7, 8 presidents to Migori, or to Homa Bay, or to Kisumu. Awacho kutoka wacho. Awacho kutoka wacho. Joey! 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 Polo Piach! Polo Piach! Polo Piach! Polo Piach! Koroye Naura Duong, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Right Honorable Raila Odinga.
Kabayuma kangato, kabayuma kangato. Kabayuma kangato, kabayuma kangato. Kavernono kangato, kavernono kangato. Emokel. Kabayuma kangato, kabayuma kangato. Gombo. Kavernono kangato, kangato nyongo. Kabayuma kangato wanga. Kabayuma kangato ida. Kabayuma kangato kamielnano kangato buru. Kabayuma kangato opia. Kamielnano kangato dongi. Kabayuma kangato agwambo. Agwambo naraka. Baba Raila tiraka nangotela. E baba naraka. Ajimi orengo tiraka nangotela. Ajimi naraka. Mama wanga tiraka nangotela. Mielina nekendo norwaka. Ai norwaka. Dugna nekendo. Siaya wiye. Kisumu wiye. Migori wiye. Kisi wiye. Jokenya wiye. Nango baba tosha wan wiye kode chuk. Nango baba tosha wan. Nango Siaya wiye. Migori wiye. Homa Bay wiye. Migori wiye. Kisumu wiye. Siaya wiye. Nairobi wiye. Nango baba tosha wan wiye.
Asante sana, asante sana. Asante.
Asante. Ancora Baba ancora di
Haya. Jothurwa. Jothurwa. Umor. Jokanyana mumor. Kanyana muil. Kanyana muchiek. Eze mochieko tingine bariki. Ero uru kamano. Niwendo mobiro, our guests who have come from outside Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, DRC, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and the diaspora in the US and in Europe and Australia. Saureuru, Hamjambo. I want to welcome all the visitors who have come to join us today for this wonderful occasion. It is a great occasion for the Luo nation here. There are only, I think, 2 other communities who have some similar celebrations. The Teso here have an annual event where they bring their Emormor. Emormor is the king of the Teso, but he lives in Uganda. But he comes here annually and they have a reunion here. They also have a similar event in Uganda. Then the Turkana have what they call the Tobong Lore. Tobong Lore is a big festival. They bring people of Turkana from different parts. The Toposa in the South Sudan, the Karamoja in Uganda, and the other group which are in Ethiopia. They come and every year they have such a festival in Lodwar. Now this is not a political event. It is basically a cultural event that brings people together who share the same culture to be able to unite, because culture itself is a source of civilization. That's why the Waswahili say, Mwachamila ni mtumwa. That if you forget your culture, you become basically a slave. So I've got some remarks I want to make in English. Then I will speak in the Luo and also in Swahili. We gather here at a time in which the world is increasingly interconnected through globalization, while at the same time we are witnessing the resurgence of nationalist aspirations. This resurgence of nationalist aspirations is being complemented by the emergence of multinationalism, which is nurtured by resilient communities. These multinational inspirations do not seek to undermine the national project in their host countries, but rather to harness the linguistic, cultural, and social fabric upon which most nation states were built. In Africa, we are more of state nations as opposed to nation states, given that the state in Africa, thanks to the Berlin Conference, saw states being engineered from above through artificially created boundaries. These consequences of these colonial boundaries were the fragmentation of cohesive lingual and cultural communities, which were dismembered, separated, and distributed among different states to satisfy colonial ambitions for socio-economic control and exploitation. Despite these divisions, pre-colonial African nations have demonstrated remarkable resilience, continuing to thrive across nationalities imposed upon them by colonial powers. It is within this context that the Luos from across Africa and the diaspora have gathered here in Siaya at the foot of Got Ramogi, to the revered shrine of the Kenyan Luo, to reflect on the state of the Luo nation in the spirit of unity and diversity. Luo delegations, led by their respective cares, that's cultural leaders, have converged from Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, and other nations. They are also joined by non-Luo participants who have come to celebrate alongside Luos, embracing unity and shared heritage that transcends the national borders. To say that multinationalism has come of age is therefore an understatement. This cultural festival embraces a multifaceted theme, fostering unity in diversity, not only among Luos across national borders, but also among diverse national groups unified by their shared African identity. Over these 3 days, we will celebrate our traditional cuisines, rediscover and adapt our traditional cultures to modernity, engage in traditional games, and enjoy art, music, and festivities cherished by our forefathers. We will deliberate on the state of the Luo nation and chart a way forward in a rapidly changing world. As our forefathers proclaimed, this gathering is guided by the enduring spirit of the Luo nation, captured in our rallying call, 1-1-1. Repeat, 1-1-1. Talking. 1. Gin. 1. Gin. Hello. Kawuono wane gi miluongo ni galamoro. Luongo nango? Iluongo nango? Nuokendo. 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 Eruru kamano. Koro ekawagini. Hello. Hello. Koro wan ka. Wan migwena. Wan kanye. To nitie kamiluongo ni wich lum. Iluongo nango? Tiluongo ni Got Ramogi. Iluongo nango? Tiluongo ni Siaya Kababa. Iluongo nango?
One, two, second. No testing, 1, 2, Yes, Nyalukindu, chapa kitu kidogo.
VTR enough for everybody. Mokwongo gibedi kama una roll.
Before you start, adwana land mogik kendo adwana land kajachir kabisa. Kindly security mewauru tich mayot hapo, ibaki wazi awacho. Tokeni hapo tafadhali, we can't even recognize wendo modonjo. Karibu sana mama from Migori County, First Lady, karibu sana. Wawe uru space card.
Toa besi kidogo. Yes.
tuendelee tafadhali, tuendelee.
Yeah.
Tuendelee.
Asingo liniche wang biro romi kendo aikora kata biro omi mondo ichopi tieke rio mantingo matek ma isiyo chunyi biro kwe kapidapi sama irango nam kanyaboli ma onge gima chapi ada chunyi biro duogo kanyi dendi mabeyo beyo kendo ni chiemo koda pilogo wi biro bedo matin mana kawi oyundi kajo nyatiti mongik kaka omot gi oboni luongo nyingi ewaya nikech bayo ma ibayo abaya siaya kai sebet ma ihori so ibiro suori kai ngado kodi alanzo iya kibonjo mayo mana kami iya bende ibiro neno piem mamit bange kosegani yeditit Mwelo edo wato sieko Katano rango ngama biro kongo tieko Kae to ibiro di nyaka otodo mariala Kama ibiro nene ongo wangira bala Kisita tungabe kanyono mangich kendo opie Ibiro tieko kod shamogi Ine omonyole Hemko kod rabogi kod donjo kod ke Kaber kama eri Soda koro iban piende Mara ichop siya tinende Kapaba nutori tigisironya Asidindi nyaka unyolo Simpiyo ya ejingen Angoma iritoka to asemi ifwen Katwolo orumoni Tomano wachni Watieko